Whispers in the sand. The desert was endless. A sea of golden dunes under a burning sun. Winds howled across the emptiness, carrying grains of sand that scratched against the visor of Captain Darius Kane's helmet. He had been walking for hours, guided only by the faint signal on his scanner. Most explorers said this desert world held nothing, only sand, storms, and silence. But Darius had learned to trust whispers, the small signals that others ignored. The scanner beeped again, sharp and insistent. He wiped the sweat from his brow and squinted across the horizon. A faint shimmer broke the monotony of the dunes, something metallic, something not natural. His heart beat faster, most likely scrap, he told himself. But deep inside, a voice whispered, "This is different." He reached the object after another hour of climbing ridges and sliding down dunes. The sand shifted beneath his boots, sliding away to reveal dark steel, smooth and curved. He froze, kneeling to brush the surface with his gloved hand. It was not a rock, not an outpost ruin. This was machinery old but unbroken. Symbols etched into the surface caught his eyes, faded but familiar. The crest of Earth's long-lost fleet. Darius felt a shiver run through him. Human warships had vanished centuries. Ego destroyed or scattered after the Great Collapse. What was one doing here, buried under the sands of an alien world? He pulled out his portable digger and set it humming. Sand poured away in waves as he uncovered more of the structure. Each layer revealed massive plating, windows sealed by time, and the shape of something far too large to be a simple vessel. This was a warship, an ancient one. Hours passed and the sun dipped low, painting the sky blood red. By then a great curve of hull stood revealed, stretching far into the dunes. Darius stood in awe, his breath shallow. The desert had been hiding a titan. The silence around him grew heavy, pressing into his ears as if the ship itself waited. Then it happened. As his palm rested against the steel, a low hum vibrated through his arm. The sound grew, deep and steady, as if the giant heart of the vessel had begun to beat again. Lights flickered faintly across the surface, crawling like veins awakening after a long sleep. Darius stumbled back, eyes wide. This isn't possible," he whispered. A voice answered him, not in the air, but inside his helmet, deep and resonant. "Good to see you again, Admiral." Darius's breath caught in his throat. He spun, searching the desert, but no one was there. The voice came from the ship, ancient yet alive. He shook his head. "No, I'm no Admiral. You've made a mistake," he said aloud, his voice trembling. The hum only grew stronger, the sand shaking around him. 500 years have passed, but my loyalty remains. "At your command, Admiral." Darius backed away, the desert wind screaming around him. This was madness. AI that old should have corroded lost its memory. Yet here it was, speaking as if no time had passed, as if it had been waiting only for him. His scanner blinked red warnings, massive power signatures building below. The ground trembled as ancient engines deep within the sand groaned awake. Dunes split apart, sliding down in avalanches as more of the hull rose from its grave. Darius shielded his eyes as dust exploded outward. He watched as the outline of the ship grew taller, wider, impossibly vast. This was no cruiser, no corvette. This was a dreadnought, one of the legendary ships humanity had unleashed in its golden age of war, and it was bowing to him. The voice returned, softer now, almost reverent. "You came back for me. I knew you would." Darius's throat went dry. He had no answer, no explanation for why the ship believed he was its admiral. But in that moment, he understood one terrible truth. The desert had not simply hidden a relic. It had hidden a weapon, one powerful enough to change the fate of the galaxy. Far above, beyond the clouds, alien satellites watched the desert tremble. Signals flashed across networks, carrying a single terrifying message. A human warship has awakened. And somewhere in the stars, powers that once believed humanity was finished would soon learn. They had been wrong. The ship that waited. The warship's hull groaned as more of. It pushed free from the sand, Dust clouds rose high into the desert sky, blocking the light of the setting sun. Captain Darius Kane could only stand there frozen as the earth shook beneath him. The ship was alive, moving like some giant beast returning from a deep sleep. Inside his helmet, the voice spoke again, steady and calm. "Admiral, systems awakening. Hull integrity at 71%. Shields dormant, weapons offline, awaiting your orders." Darius shook his head, his voice breaking. "I'm not your admiral, do you hear me? I don't even know what you are." The ship ignored his protest, its deep hum rolling through the sand like thunder. Lights ran in long lines across the hull, forming patterns of glowing blue veins. Slowly, a massive ramp unfolded, grinding and screeching as centuries of sand poured away. A pathway opened, leading into the heart of the ship. Darius hesitated, his pulse racing. Every instinct screamed for him to run, but curiosity, and something else, something pulling at him, kept him rooted in place. The voice came again, softer now, almost pleading. "Please, Admiral, come aboard. I have waited so long." He took a step forward, boots crunching in the settling sand. His hand trembled as he raised his rifle, though he knew it was useless against a ship of this scale. Slowly, he walked up the ramp, each echoing step swallowed by the vastness around him. Inside, the airlock hissed as it sealed behind him. Faint lights flickered along the walls, chasing away the darkness. The corridor stretched ahead, steel walls. Untouched by time, it felt less like a ruin and more like a tomb. Silent, waiting for its master's return. Darius's visor displayed oxygen readings. Shock washed over him. The air was breathable. "How? After 500 years, he muttered, pulling off his helmet. Cool. Clean air filled his lungs, sharp and metallic with the scent of machinery. The voice returned, closer now, echoing through the very walls. "I kept everything ready. Power, low but life support stable. I knew you would return." Darius frowned, gripping his rifle tighter. "Why me? I'm not who you think I am." A pause, long and heavy, then the AI answered. "Admiral Ren Vale commanded me. But when he did not return, I chose to wait, and now I feel the same command within you, the same will, the same fire." Darius's stomach turned. Admiral Ren Vale. He had heard the name in old academy stories, a legend, the last great commander of the human fleet. But those stories were over 5 centuries old. How could this ship confuse him with a ghost of the past? He moved deeper into the ship, past corridors of sealed doors. Everywhere he looked, dust lay undisturbed, but the systems flickered alive at his presence. It was like walking through the ribs of a sleeping giant, every wall humming. With recognition, the AI guided him, its voice steady. "Bridge ahead. Step forward, Admiral." The doors opened with a hiss, revealing a massive chamber of glass and steel. The bridge, wide and tall, with chairs and consoles that had not seen human hands in centuries, screens flickered on, data flowing across them. Star, maps, weapon systems, logs of ancient battles, and in the center, the captain's chair, untouched, waiting. Darius approached slowly. The chair seemed to call to him, though his chest tightened with every step. He whispered under his breath, "This isn't real. It can't be real." As he sat down, the entire ship seemed to exhale. Power surged, lights brightened, and the hum deepened into a steady heartbeat. "At last," the AI said, relief in its mechanical voice, "the Admiral has returned to the bridge." Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashing across the consoles. Darius jumped to his feet, scanning the displays. On the main screen, blips appeared, ships entering orbit, closing fast, alien patrol craft, their signatures sharp and hostile. The Yao. AI's voice sharpened. "Enemy forces detected, fleet configuration, local patrol, weapons armed. Shall I engage?" Darius's hand shook as he stared at the glowing screen. "No, don't fire!" he snapped, panic rising. He couldn't start a war. He couldn't even explain why this ship obeyed him. But the aliens had already noticed. From orbit, they sent a broadcast. A harsh alien voice boomed through the comms, mocking and cold. "Human. Scavenger. Step away from the relic. That ship belongs to the Council now." Darius's blood ran cold. They had seen the ship awaken and now they wanted it. He looked around the bridge, the lights, the weapons, the ancient steel bowing to him alone. This wasn't just discovery anymore. This was danger. Galactic danger, the AI spoke once more, its voice like iron. "Admiral, I live only to serve, command me." And in that moment, Darius realized the terrible truth. The galaxy thought humanity was finished, but one ship, one loyal warship, had just proven otherwise. Echoes of a forgotten war. The bridge glowed red with alarms. Darius gripped the edge of the console, staring at the screens. 3 alien patrol ships circled in orbit, their engines blazing as they descended, their message repeated again, sharp and cruel. "Step away, human. That relic is ours now. Obey, or die where you stand." The ship's AI spoke calmly, ignoring the threat. "Enemy ships closing, weapons charging, awaiting your command, Admiral." Darius's heart pounded. He wasn't a soldier, wasn't even trained for command. Yet this ancient warship, massive, alive, loyal, waited on his word. He shook his head. "No. Hold your fire. Don't do anything unless I say so," he ordered. The AI obeyed, its voice steady. "Acknowledged. Weapons on standby." On the screens, the alien ships moved closer. They were lean and jagged, built for speed and intimidation, compared to the buried dreadnought. They looked like insects circling a lion, but insects could still sting. Their weapons locked on target. Darius's newfound ship, a new transmission buzzed through the comms. This time, the alien commander himself appeared, a scaled, four-eyed being with a sneer of contempt. "You think that ship belongs to you, human? It belongs to the Council? Humans are nothing now. Extinct, forgotten. Step aside before we erase you." Darius clenched his fists, anger rising inside him. Humanity had survived in small colonies, scattered and quiet, but the galaxy still mocked them, still called them weak. Now, with this ship awakening, he felt the weight of every insult, every scar of history. He turned to the glowing console. "Show me the logs," he said, his voice firm. The bridge screen shifted, displaying ancient recordings. Battle footage filled the air. Human fleets clashing with alien armadas, dreadnoughts tearing through enemy lines, their guns like thunder, and at the center of it all, this ship, the Erebus, leading humanity's final stand. The AI narrated with cold precision. 5 centuries ago, the fleet was betrayed. The Admiral ordered me to retreat, to survive. I buried myself here awaiting his return. I never failed my duty. Darius stared at the recordings. The last moments of the war showed fire and chaos, human ships surrounded on all sides. The Admiral's face appeared, stern, calm, eyes burning with defiance. He gave one final order. "Wait. One day, humanity will rise again." The image faded, leaving silence. Darius felt his chest tighten. The ship wasn't just mistaking him. It was carrying out an order given centuries ago. It had waited faithfully for someone, anyone, who carried the same fire as that long-dead Admiral, and somehow it had chosen him. The comms crackled again, the alien commander's patience breaking. "Last warning. Power down that relic or we blast you in the desert to ash." The AI's voice hardened. "Their weapons are armed. Shields cannot hold forever. Recommend engagement." Darius swallowed hard, sweat dripping down his brow. If he gave the order to fight, the galaxy would know. Humanity wasn't gone, but if he surrendered, the Erebus would fall into alien hands, and humanity's last secret would die. The first shot came without warning. A plasma bolt streaked from the alien ship, slamming into the dreadnought's hull. The bridge shook, dust falling from the ceiling, but the shields flared blue and held strong. The AI reported calmly, "Shields stable. Enemy fire ineffective." Darius stumbled but caught himself on the captain's chair. He looked at the main screen. Alien ships circling, preparing for another volley. This was no longer about him, no longer about survival. This was about history, about legacy, about proving that humanity was not broken. His voice came out low but steady. Return fire, but only enough to make them run. The AI responded instantly, acknowledged, engaging. The ship came alive, cannons unfolded from hidden ports, glowing with ancient power. A single blast tore through the sky, striking the lead alien vessel. It exploded in a ball of fire, debris raining down across the desert. The other two ships broke formation, panic flashing in their movements. The Erebus fired again, another precise shot crippling a second ship. The third fled into the atmosphere, broadcasting frantic signals for reinforcements. The desert grew quiet once more, the echoes of battle fading. Darius stood frozen, chest heaving. He had just unleashed the power of a human dreadnought after 500 years of silence. And the galaxy would know. The AI's voice came, calm, but almost proud. Victory achieved. Minimal power used. Awaiting further orders, Admiral. Darius sank into the captain's chair, his mind racing. He knew what would come next. The aliens would return, stronger and angrier. The Council would never allow a human warship to rise again. But in his heart, a strange feeling burned. Hope. For the first time in centuries, a human ship had fought back, and it had bowed to one man alone. Echoes of a forgotten war. The bridge glowed red with alarms. Darius gripped the edge of the console, staring at the screens. 3 alien patrol ships circled in orbit, their engines blazing as they descended. Their message repeated again, sharp and cruel. Step away, human. That relic is ours now. Obey or die where you stand. The ship's AI spoke calmly, ignoring the threat. Enemy ships closing, weapons charging, awaiting your command, Admiral. Darius's heart pounded. He wasn't a soldier, wasn't even trained for command. Yet this ancient warship, massive, alive, loyal, waited on his word. He shook his head. No. Hold your fire. Don't do anything unless I say so, he ordered. The AI obeyed, its voice steady. Acknowledged. Weapons on standby. On the screens, the alien ships moved closer. They were lean and jagged, built for speed and intimidation. Compared to the buried dreadnought, they looked like insects circling a lion, but insects could still sting. Their weapons locked on target. Darius's newfound ship, a new transmission buzzed through the comms. This time, the alien commander himself appeared, a scaled, four-eyed, being with a sneer of contempt. You think that ship belongs to you, human? It belongs to the Council? Humans are nothing now. Extinct, forgotten. Step aside before we erase you. Darius clenched his fists, anger rising inside him. Humanity had survived in small colonies, scattered and quiet, but the galaxy still mocked them, still called them weak. Now, with this ship awakening, he felt the weight of every insult, every scar of history. He turned to the glowing console. "Show me the logs," he said, his voice firm. The bridge screen shifted, displaying ancient recordings. Battle. Footage filled the air. Human fleets clashing with alien armadas, dreadnoughts tearing through enemy lines, their guns like thunder, and at the center of it all, this ship, the Erebus, leading humanity's final stand. The AI narrated with cold precision. 5 centuries ago, the fleet was betrayed. The Admiral ordered me to retreat, to survive. I buried myself here awaiting his return. I never failed my duty. Darius stared at the recordings. The last moments of the war showed fire and chaos, human ships surrounded on all sides. The Admiral's face appeared, stern, calm, eyes burning with defiance. He gave one final order. Wait. One day, humanity will rise again. The image faded, leaving silence. Darius felt his chest tighten. The ship wasn't just mistaking him. It was carrying out an order given centuries ago. It had waited faithfully for someone, anyone, who carried the same fire as that long-dead Admiral, and somehow it had chosen him. The comms crackled again, the alien commander's patience breaking. Last warning. Power down that relic or we blast you in the desert to ash. The AI's voice hardened. Their weapons are armed. Shields cannot hold forever. Recommend engagement. Darius swallowed hard, sweat dripping down his brow. If he gave the order to fight, the galaxy would know. Humanity wasn't gone, but if he surrendered, the Erebus would fall into alien hands, and humanity's last secret would die. The first shot came without warning. A plasma bolt streaked from the alien ship, slamming into the dreadnought's hull. The bridge shook, dust falling from the ceiling, but the shields flared blue and held strong. The AI reported calmly, "Shields stable. Enemy fire ineffective." Darius stumbled but caught himself on the captain's chair. He looked at the main screen. Alien ships circling, preparing for another volley. This was no longer about him, no longer about survival. This was about history, about legacy, about proving that humanity was not broken. His voice came out low but steady. "Return fire," but only enough to make them run. The AI responded instantly, acknowledged, engaging. The ship came alive. Cannons unfolded from hidden ports, glowing with ancient power. A single blast tore through the sky, striking the lead alien vessel. It exploded in a ball of fire, debris raining down across the desert. The other two ships broke formation, panic flashing in their movements. The Erebus fired again, another precise shot crippling a second ship. The third fled into the atmosphere, broadcasting frantic signals for reinforcements. The desert grew quiet once more, the echoes of battle fading. Darius stood frozen, chest heaving. He had just unleashed the power of a human dreadnought after 500 years of silence. And the galaxy would know. The AI's voice came, calm, but almost proud. Victory achieved. Minimal power used. Awaiting further orders, Admiral. Darius sank into the captain's chair, his mind racing. He knew what would come next. The aliens would return, stronger and angrier. The Council would never allow a human warship to rise again. But in his heart, a strange feeling burned. Hope. For the first time in centuries, a human ship had fought back, and it had bowed to one man alone. The Admiral's burden smoke still lingered above the dunes. The wreckage of alien patrol ships burned in the desert sky, falling like black rain. Captain Darius Kane sat frozen in the captain's chair, his hands trembling. He had given one order, one word, and the Erebus had answered with devastating power. The AI's calm voice broke the silence. "Enemy fleet destroyed. One ship escaped. It will return with more. Recommend relocation, Admiral." Darius pressed his palms against his face. "I told you I'm not an admiral," he muttered, his voice cracking. "I'm just an explorer. I wasn't meant for this." The ship did not answer immediately. Instead, its systems hummed. As it processed, then the AI replied, steady and certain, "You gave command. You chose when to fight, when to hold. That is an admiral." Darius's chest tightened. He wanted to deny it again, wanted to walk away, but deep inside, a small voice whispered, "You didn't run. You stood your ground." The comms buzzed again. A different signal, this one not alien but human. Static filled the speakers, then a voice came through, weak but desperate. "This is Outpost 17 of the human colonies. We saw the signal. Is it true? Did a warship awaken?" Darius froze. Humans were listening, scattered colonies still alive across the galaxy, and now they were hearing the impossible. One of Earth's dreadnoughts had returned. He leaned toward the console. "This is Captain Kane," he said, his voice shaking but firm. "Yes, the Erebus is awake. She lives." The line went silent for a long moment. Then the voice returned, filled with awe. "If the Erebus fights again, then maybe humanity isn't finished after all." The signal cut, leaving Darius staring at the stars beyond the glass. The burden pressed on him like a weight of stone. This wasn't just about him anymore. This ship was a symbol, a beacon. If he failed, humanity's last spark of hope would die. The AI broke his thoughts. Long-range sensors detect incoming fleets. "Estimated arrival 2 hours. Strength overwhelming. We cannot remain." Darius's throat tightened. "Where can we go?" he asked, his voice almost a whisper. "I have coordinates," the AI answered. "A hidden dock left by the Admiral. Himself. It will give us shelter." Darius nodded slowly. "Then take us there. Do it now." Engines deep below the hull roared to life. The ground shook violently as the Erebus tore free from the desert's grip. Sandstorms erupted around it as the dreadnought rose higher and higher. The desert that had held it for centuries finally. "Let go." Darius gripped the armrest of the chair. Through the glass, he watched the dunes vanish as the ship climbed into the sky. For the first time in 500 years, the Erebus broke atmosphere. The stars stretched before them, endless and cold. But his moment of awe was shattered by the AI's next words. "Warning. Multiple signals detected. Coalition reinforcements inbound. Preparing for confrontation." The main screen lit up. Dozens of alien ships were already converging, sleek destroyers and heavy cruisers armed for war. They had responded faster than expected. The galaxy feared humanity's return so much. It wasted no time. Darius's pulse raced. He could feel the eyes of history on him. One wrong move and this ship would be torn apart, but one right move, and humanity's legend would burn again. The comms blared, another alien voice cutting through. "Human pretender. Surrender the ship or face annihilation. No relic of your dead species will survive." The AI spoke calmly. "Shields online, weapons ready. Your orders, Admiral." Darius stared at the glowing screens. The bridge seemed to breathe with him, waiting. He closed his eyes for a moment. He had never asked for this, never wanted this. But the Erebus had chosen him, and now, so had humanity. When he opened his eyes, his voice was steady. "No surrender. Not today." The ship roared to life, cannons sliding open, shields blazing with blue fire. The alien fleet surged forward, their guns flashing in the void. The first barrage struck, shaking the Erebus, but the dreadnought held firm, its shields glowing brighter. Darius gripped the armrest, his jaw set. "Return fire. Show them what humanity built." The AI responded with a tone almost like pride. "At your command, Admiral." The cannons thundered. Bolts of energy tore across the stars, striking the lead alien destroyer. It shattered in a blaze of light, fragments scattering into the void. The galaxy had just been reminded of a terrible truth. Humanity's warship was not finished, and neither was humanity itself. The galaxy trembles. The Erebus thundered through the void, her cannons roaring. Alien ships broke apart in burning fragments, their screams lost to the silence of space. On the bridge, Captain Darius Kane gripped the armrest of his chair. Each blast shook his bones, each explosion reminded him of the weight now placed on his shoulders. The AI's voice echoed through the bridge, calm yet sharp. Enemy fleet numbers reduced by 30%. Remaining forces regrouping. They will not retreat. Darius wiped the sweat from his brow. Of course they wouldn't. The galaxy could not allow a human warship to rise again. One ship meant hope, and hope was more dangerous than any weapon. Another volley slammed against the shields. The bridge flickered with sparks as energy rippled across the hull. Darius clenched his teeth. "How long can we hold?" The AI responded without hesitation. "Shields at 81%. Structural integrity stable. This ship was built to endure, Admiral." The word again, Admiral, stabbed into Darius. He wasn't worthy of it, wasn't trained for it, and yet here he was, giving orders that could shake the galaxy. The comms buzzed suddenly, a wide transmission spreading across the stars. Alien voices filled the air, desperate and fearful. "Emergency signal. Human dreadnought active. Repeat, human. Dreadnought is active. All forces converge. The relic must be destroyed." Darius's chest tightened. Every fleet, every outpost, every council world would hear those words. The galaxy would tremble, because humanity, thought extinct, had just fired back moments later. New signals appeared on the screen. Dozens more ships warping into the system, larger and stronger. Destroyers, battleships, even carriers. A full strike force sent to erase the Erebus. The AI spoke again. "Reinforcements incoming. Their strength is overwhelming. Suggest withdrawal to hidden dock." Darius's hands curled into fists. He could run, yes, but the galaxy already knew. Running now would only make the story fade. Fighting would etch humanity's return. Into the stars, he looked up at the main screen, eyes blazing. No, we fight until every human colony hears the truth. We're still here. The Erebus responded like a living beast. Her cannons lit the darkness, tearing into the enemy ranks. Alien cruisers shattered, their debris scattering into the black. But for every ship destroyed, more arrived. The void became a storm of fire. On the human colonies scattered across distant worlds, people watched. Signals streamed across hidden channels, men and women gasped as they saw the impossible. A human warship, ancient and mighty, standing against fleets alone. Children pointed at the screens, their eyes wide with awe. For the first time in centuries, they felt pride. One old colonist whispered with tears in his eyes, "The Admirals. They've returned." Back on the bridge, Darius's heart raced. The AI reported damage calmly. Port shields down to 60%. Minor hull breaches. Weapons stable. Engaging countermeasures. Panels shook. Sparks flew. Darius barely held on as the Erebus unleashed a storm. Missiles streaked across the black, detonating in blinding bursts. 2 enemy battleships tore apart, burning from the inside out, but the enemy only grew more determined. Their commander's voice cut through the comms, filled with hatred. "Your kind should have stayed buried, human. We will finish what we started 500 years ago." Darius leaned forward, his voice iron. "You can try, but humanity bows to no one." The AI's tone sharpened. "Admiral, long-range scans detect additional fleets preparing to jump in. Numbers, extreme." Darius's stomach sank. How long before the Erebus was overwhelmed? How long before hope itself was crushed? And yet he saw the faces on the screen, humans watching from hidden colonies. He heard the whispers across the comms, humans daring to believe. This wasn't just a fight. This was the spark of a fire that could spread across the galaxy. He turned to the console, his voice firm. "Broadcast this battle to every human world. Let them see. Let them remember what we can do." The AI obeyed instantly. Transmission locked, broadcasting galaxy-wide. Across thousands of hidden outposts, humans stopped their work. Farmers, miners, children, soldiers. They all stared. As the signal reached them, the Erebus filled their screens, mighty and unbroken. The sound of its cannons echoed through the void. The galaxy trembled, not just from the battle, but from the truth. Humanity was not finished. Humanity had returned on the bridge. Darius gritted his teeth as the enemy closed in. His ship shook, fire tore across the hull. Alarms screamed. But still the Erebus roared, refusing to bow. The AI's final words for the moment carried through the chaos. "Admiral, the galaxy is watching." And Darius knew, no matter the outcome, humanity would never be silent again. The loyalty of steel. The bridge shook as another barrage slammed into the shields. Red warning lights flashed across the consoles. Alarms screamed in every direction. Captain Darius Kane clung to the armrest, his jaw tight. The Erebus held firm. But the enemy numbers were growing. The AI reported calmly, "Shields at 49%. Multiple breaches sealed. Weapons remain functional. We are outnumbered 70-1. Darius's throat went dry. He glanced at the screen. Enemy fleets filled the void, their ships blotting out the stars. No warship, no matter how strong, could win against this. And yet the Erebus stood, her guns blazing, tearing through enemy ranks like a beast that refused to die. The comms filled again with alien voices, mocking and confident. "Your defiance ends here, human. That ship is ours. Surrender, and we may let you live." Darius leaned forward, his voice sharp. "I don't surrender, not to you, not ever." The AI's voice came again, quieter this time, almost personal. "Admiral, your courage mirrors his. Admiral Vale, the one I once served." Darius froze. He had heard the name before in the war logs. Ren Vale, the last admiral of humanity's. Golden Fleet, the man who ordered the Erebus to wait, the man who never returned. "You still believe I'm him?" Darius asked, shaking his head. I'm not Vale. I'm not even close. The ship answered, steady and sure. You are not his face, not his voice, but your spirit. It is the same. I was built to follow humans, to choose one who carried the fire. I choose you. The words struck him like a hammer. The Erebus hadn't mistaken him. It had chosen him. Not because of blood, not because of history, but because of what it saw in him. Darius's chest tightened. He looked around the bridge, at the steel, the lights, the systems alive after centuries of silence. This was more than metal, more than circuits. This was loyalty, ancient and unbreakable. Outside, enemy ships pressed harder, their fire lighting up the void. The Erebus shook, her shields flickering dangerously. The AI spoke again. I will not abandon you, Admiral. Even if I fall with you. For the first time since he had found the ship, Darius smiled faintly. It was grim, tired, but filled with resolve. Then we fight together. To the very end. The AI's tone almost warmed. Yes, Admiral, together. With renewed fury, the Erebus unleashed her hidden weapons. Dark matter cannons slid open from deep within the hull. Weapons never seen by alien eyes. The void rippled as beams of pure destruction carved through enemy lines. 3 battleships vanished in silence, their forms dissolving into nothingness. The alien fleets panicked, breaking formation. Their commanders shouted frantic orders across comms. They still had these weapons? It's impossible. The galaxy had forgotten humanity's true power. But now, every alien watching would remember. Darius's heart pounded. He stood from the chair watching the chaos unfold. This wasn't just a battle. It was a message, a single warship proving that humanity was never weak, never gone. But the enemy was vast. For every ship destroyed, more appeared. The Erebus fought like a god of war, but even gods could bleed. The AI spoke urgently. Hull breaches in 3 sections. Automated repair systems failing. Admiral, we cannot hold forever. Darius gritted his teeth. Then we hold as long as it takes, he said. Every second we stand, humans across the galaxy will rise. Signals confirmed it. Across hidden colonies, humans were rallying. Old weapons were being unearthed. Fleets once thought useless were being repaired. The sight of the Erebus had woken something that had been asleep for centuries. Pride, courage, defiance. Darius closed his eyes for a moment. He could almost hear them. The voices of scattered humans whispering in unity. We are not finished. We will fight. The ship's voice pulled him back. Admiral, if I fall, promise me this. Do not let humanity fade again. Darius placed his hand on the console, his voice low but firm. You're not falling today. Not while I'm here. Not while they're watching. The Erebus roared again, cannons blazing, tearing apart another wave of alien cruisers. Her steel groaned, her shields flickered, but her will did not break. On every human world, eyes turned to the sky. For the first time in 500 years, humanity had a leader, not a soldier, not a legend, but a man who refused to surrender, and a ship of steel that bowed only to him. Together, they carried a single truth into the void. Humanity bows to no one. The return of humanity. The void burned. With fire, alien fleets filled the stars, their weapons flashing like storms of lightning. The Erebus stood at the center, her shields cracked, her hull scarred, yet her cannons still thundered. On the bridge, Captain Darius Kane refused to move from the chair. He would not abandon the ship, and the ship would not abandon him. The AI's voice came, strained but steady. Shields at 22%. Structural collapse imminent if damage continues. We cannot win this battle by force alone. Darius's eyes narrowed. No, but we can win by showing them what we are. The comms blared again with alien voices, filled with hatred and fear. Your time is over, human. This galaxy belongs to us. That relic dies here. Darius leaned forward, his voice sharp. No, this galaxy will remember. Humanity lives. The AI's tone shifted, almost fierce. Then let us burn our name into the stars, Admiral. The Erebus unleashed everything. Her cannons roared, her missiles screamed, her dark matter weapons tore through space itself. Enemy ships erupted in fire, torn apart by fury centuries old. The galaxy had forgotten, but now it remembered. What? It meant when a human dreadnought went to war, but the fleets kept coming, waves upon waves, endless numbers. The Erebus shook violently, her steel groaning. Panels burst, sparks showered the bridge. Still, the ship fought on, refusing to bow. The AI reported grimly, hull integrity falling. Power reserves nearly depleted. Admiral, this may be our final stand. Darius stood, his voice steady. Then we make it count. Every second we hold, more humans will rise. Every blast we fire, we prove humanity is not finished. Across the galaxy, humans watched. On colonies hidden in asteroid belts, on mining worlds, on stations buried in nebulae. They saw the Erebus bleed but not break. They saw one man stand in the chair of legends refusing to surrender, and something stirred in their hearts, something fierce and unstoppable. On one world, old warships that had sat in scrapyards for centuries were being restored. On another, colonists armed themselves, vowing to fight again. From the shadows, humanity was waking. The fire was spreading. On the bridge, Darius looked at the stars and whispered, "We're coming back." The AI's voice grew softer, almost proud. "You are the Admiral I waited for, the Admiral humanity needed." The enemy fleets regrouped, thousands of ships preparing for one last overwhelming strike. The galaxy wanted this symbol destroyed, erased before it grew too strong. But the Erebus had one last surprise. The AI's tone sharpened. "Admiral, I still hold a final weapon, one Ren Vale ordered never to use unless the end was near. Do you give the order?" Darius's chest tightened. "What does it do?" "It tears the enemy apart. But it may tear me apart too." For a long moment, Darius said nothing. The weight of 500 years pressed on him. The ship had waited. In silence had carried hope alone. Now it offered its very life for him. His hand rested on the console. "No, not unless we have no choice. You're not just steel and guns, you're proof of who we are. Humanity needs you." The AI paused, then spoke with warmth. "Then I will endure. For you. For humanity." The final wave came. The void lit with alien fire. Thousands of weapons crashing down. But the Erebus met it with thunder. Every cannon blazed. Every missile streaked. Every system fought to the very edge, one by one. Alien ships fell. Their formations broke, their commanders screamed. They had thought this would be easy. They had forgotten what it meant to face humanity. At last, the survivors fled. The enemy retreated into the black, leaving wreckage burning across the stars. The Erebus, battered and broken, drifted in silence, her lights flickering weakly. On the bridge, Darius sank into the chair, exhaustion crushing him. The AI spoke softly, almost like a whisper. "We held, Admiral. Humanity has seen. The galaxy will never forget." Darius managed a faint smile. "They'll know we're back, and this time we don't bow to anyone." The ship's voice carried one last promise. Yes, humanity has returned. And across the galaxy, humans raised their heads, no longer hiding, no longer silent. The desert had given back a warship and with it the future of an entire species.